Hello everybody, SirMonkeySuit Zappy here with more My Hero Academia. We're on episode 19. And then in the last episode we finished off the first part of the provisional license exam, which was, throwing balls at targets that were attached to every student. And all of Class 1A got through to the next round, which is, which I guess we expect, as Class 1A as being the sort of, the main... I like to think of 1A as like a character all like in of itself. Because, they keep mentioning, especially like Aizawa and All Might, that, Class 1A is like, filled with all these great students, they can get out of any situation and shit like that. So I like to think of it as a character all of its own. So yeah, we kind of expected them all to get through out of the 100 that they allowed through. So yeah, there is that. Oyama and Kaminari both got their time to shine in that episode, which is really good. I like it when the side characters like get their own time to shine. We had Momo have it like in the previous episode 17, but she's had a bit of an extra push as well. Like she's had that in like season 2 as well. But yeah, it's nice to see like the side characters like getting some time to shine and stuff. I think when it comes to like the school festival and like this kind of exam, that kind of stage, I think it's a good place to focus on them for a bit. So yeah, Aoyama basically saved half of fucking 1A. He didn't do it like intentionally. Like I know he was like sacrificing himself to save Ida, but obviously he just ended up being a beacon of hope, and all of, like half of 1A like knew where to go from that point. Because they were wandering around just lost. So yeah, that's really cool. Bakugo, essentially, with a compliment to Deku and acknowledging the fact that, yeah, okay, he does have borrowed power then from All Might. I figured Bakugo knew this, like previously, obviously, like a bit back, but, I think it's just now that he's like, okay, right, fair enough. I'm wondering if he's... I wonder if it's sort of like second-hand respect to Deku, almost. Because of Bakugo's sort of, his admiration for, like, All Might and whatnot, if All Might has decided that Deku's the one that should have this power, then maybe Bakugo is sort of transferring that admiration of All Might and thinking, okay, well, if All Might's giving it to Deku, then therefore, Deku must have something about him, and then, he carries on respect. So I feel like that's probably a bit of it. But yeah, we'll see. So, yeah, that was the first part. That was the first half of the provisional license exam. The second half is based in the same arena to rescue the people that were trapped from the first half, I believe, right? So there's still students out there that are like in whatever state they're in due to like having fights and shit like that. They blew up the fucking the whole stage or whatever. So whoever's trapped there, it's now time for the second half where the people who got through have to go back in and actually rescue the people, which is going to be fucking great. I love that. Because I feel like it's going to be like that OVA. I think it was it the first OVA where they did the rescue training. Yeah, and I like that. So yeah, this should be good. All right. Don't think there's really anything else to say. Other than that, I think as it's been quite clear, YouTube has changed its algorithm. So copyright is being a bit of a bitch right now. So I'm finding it's Toho mostly. So I don't know if it's down to Toho really, or it's YouTube fucking it up. But like My Hero and Haikyuu are just getting absolutely pummeled. And it's just season 3 of both shows that are getting pummeled with it. You know what I mean? Like fucking episodes 17 and 16, 17, and 18 of My Hero. You know what I mean? Are like down again. I've fucking lost count of how many times I've had to re-upload those. Pretty much all of season 3 of Haikyuu is down as well. So bear with me, guys. I will get them up again eventually. So just hang in there. I'm not just going to leave them I'm not just going to leave them down so that you can't see them. I will get them up eventually. If it has to come to it, then I will just put it on another website, because I know how frustrating it is. You know what I mean? Honestly, I've been having such a fucking time with that copyright. It's honestly, it's annoying me, because I think it's just Toho, because I'm not getting that problem with any other show. I'm not getting it with Steins Gate. I'm not getting it with Code Geass. So yeah, I'll sort it out. I will sort it out. Right, just give me time. But yeah, other than that, I don't think there's anything else to really say. So we're gonna get an episode 19 of season 3 of My Hero Academia. Let's go. Okay, episode 19. Right, well, it's only really Gang Orca and then, like, you know, minions, essentially, innit? Like, they're all, like, you can tell that they're not going to be all that much. Gang Orca's going to be the tough one. And what is it? I guess it's going to be fucking Midoriya that's going to go up against him, because obviously, why not? But all the fucking, like, just everyday fucking pawns, if you want to call them that, you know what I mean? They're not going to be anything special. It's just going to be numbers, really, innit? But you know, that's place for Bakugo to come in. I was wondering, like, when this started, I was like, oh, fucking hell, what's Bakugo going to do? Because you always think, innit? It's like, when it comes to Rescue Train, what can Bakugo really do? You know what I mean? Because his quirk is not really suited to anything that anything rescue related. So yeah, I feel like this is his style. This is perfect for Bakugo. You know what I mean? Instead of, you know what I mean, while a bunch of other heroes are out there like rescuing and actually helping bystanders and whatnot, Bakugo can keep like the villains away and shit. That's right up his alley. Yeah, so from the very top, they've got active victims in. I should have really thought of that. Like, I was thinking, oh shit, no, it's just the rest of the students that were still out there from the first round, and that's who they're going to go rescue. But then after I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh well, what's the point in that then? Because they'll have their own quirks anyway. So yeah, I should have really thought of that. So yeah, they've got fucking victim actors in there anyway. Okay, the fucking little kid. It's like 2 foot tall, and he's probably older than like all of the students. It's so stupid. Fucking hell, man. Yeah. Inasa, clearly their family has a problem with Todoroki's family. I'd imagine it probably goes back to something that that Endeavor did, and so it hasn't fucking caught on. Fucking hell, man. I hate that. I hate that sort of character trope. You know what I mean? Like the one that hates and like somebody else because of something like one of their family members did. You know what I mean? Like, oh wow, wait, so Endeavor did something like, I don't know, to your dad, so therefore I must hate you. It's fucking stupid, isn't it? It's so fucking, it's ridiculous. But whatever. It gives Todoroki a sort of a rival. I know, like, obviously you have the sort of the trio. I guess Ida can be in there as well. So, like, as you know, Bakugo, Midoriya, Todoroki, and Ida. But you know, that's all within like the same school. I feel like if you have it across schools, then it's a different dynamic. It's a different kind of rival. So, you know, there's that. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. This is I did write down, this is the first proper sort of actual rescue type scenario they've had that involves people that don't have quirks. Because even in the first OVA that they did, it was rescue training, but it was rescuing other students. So you know what I mean? They just had they had quirks of their own. You know what I mean? It's not all that big a deal. They had to go rescue Ida from Stain, which is, you know, it's just rescuing one person. Again, he has his own quirk. Rescuing Bakugo, again, he has his own quirk. Whereas this, it's straight up rescuing a bunch of like just bystanders, regular civilians who are quirkless, who are, well, maybe not even be quirkless, but may just have quirks that just are just not capable of sort of like heroic sort of any heroic stature or whatever. So yeah, I was thinking it's their first proper rescue. It makes sense the fact that they're not all that efficient when it comes to rescuing, because they just haven't had that sort of experience at all. So yeah, I mean, obviously Aizawa pointed out that, you know, as good as the first days are across like all the schools and whatever, because obviously they're taking this sooner rather than most most students do. They take in either second year or third year. You know what I mean? While, you know what I mean, that great at that, experience does help. And especially with like rescue and stuff like that. And yeah, the fact that, like, you know, I like how it pointed out the fact that Deku immediately went in. The first thing he said was something negative, and that this looks bad. When really, you know what I mean, it cut back to that that old footage of All Might coming across the bus, fucking holding loads of people, saying, you know what I mean, saying that everything's fine and that I am here. The idea is to not invoke any like negative feelings as soon as you walk in, because that'll put the bystanders or the victims in a like even a worse state of mind, which is something that you really don't want to do. You want to make sure that, you know what I mean, you want to go in and say everything's going to be fine, don't worry. You know what I mean? That's the same thing that you know, I think they did mention it, but like firefighters and you know, paramedics and things like that. The first thing that they, like, you know what I mean, they never go in and say, like, you know what I mean, oh, this is pretty bad, this isn't good. You know what I mean? They go in, reassure you, and then, you know what I mean, and then they help you out. And I think, you know, that's something that I think Deku just had a lapse right there, because the fact that he's obviously he's watched that footage so many times, and he knows, like, you know, rescue is sort of a big thing for Deku. You know what I mean? I think that'll be a big part of his game. So, you know, the fact that he just had a lapse and just went in and just said, oh shit, this looks bad. You know what I mean? I think maybe it might have something to do with the fact that because of how little time he's actually spent at the school, concerned, like, relative to how many times he's had to face villains, that, like, maybe it's just drilled into his head that, oh, for fuck's sake, like, you know what I mean, shit just keeps going bad. So that could be, like, the reason why he had the lapse, but, you know, it's like All Might kept, like, drilling into him the idea of, you know what I mean, you keep smiling even in the face of, like, you know, like, the worst danger, even if the odds are like entirely against you. Always smile, because, you know what I mean, it's about that symbol of peace. You know what I mean? As long as you're smiling, all of the people who are counting on you will feel reassured that you can actually get through it and do it. If you're like All Might and you're like, oh shit, no, fuck, this isn't good, you know what I mean, then everyone's gonna be like, oh no, fucking hell, please no. It's you know, so yeah, I like how I pointed that out anyway. Well, Nagamasa, he's like extendo hair, I guess. Fucking great. Ochako, like, the whole thing with Ochako, right, and her, like, this whole thing of liking Deku, like, I hope if it's brought up again, she just recognizes it as, yes, this is what it is. I do actually like him. And just acknowledges it, because the last thing I want is this to turn into a fucking, like, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, I'm getting a bit tired of it already, you know what I mean, like, the whole, like, her just sitting there, just watching Deku and doing all this thing. It's like, you know what I mean, I want the Ochako that we had, like, in season 2, like episode 9, when she faced off against Bakugo, you know what I mean, and have that, like, sort of that mentality of, you know what I mean, I'm not gonna let anything, like, stand in my way, I'm gonna do my absolute best to get through this, and not let this kind of shit, like, you know what I mean, like, shine through. I get it, she's a very cutesy character, and I get that's what's supposed to be, you know what I mean, but I, like, you know what I mean, the fact that she did say this episode that, right, I'm just gonna, you know what I mean, I'm gonna forget that, at least for now, and focus on this. I hope that's the case. I hope I don't come back next episode and there's a scene where Ochako is looking at Deku going, you know what I mean? And because, you know, it just, I don't know about her, it just infuriates me when like, characters, like, you know what I mean, they know something's up and they just don't do anything about it, and it just continues and it continues and it continues, you know what I mean? And it's annoying. I think that's probably the reason why a lot of people hated, like, Sakura in Naruto, because the fact that, you know what I mean, she was consistently going on about fucking Sasuke all the bloody time. And the last thing I want is Ochako to be continuously going on about Deku and doing nothing about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? I want her to have that mentality that she did have in season 2, when she was at the sports festival. It's fine. She can look up to Deku, like, and all of that, all she wants. But what I feel like all over the course of the show is that, you know, I'm sure she even said, like, in season 2, like, I rely on Deku too much. And then after that, she still pairs up with Deku pretty much all of the time. Like, I just feel like she needs to be separated from Deku more. Because I feel like she's just there all of the time with Deku. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I get, like, you know, one of the things I compliment this show is, is like when situations arise, if they're having exams, having sports festivals, whatever, and you have these interesting team-ups across, like, 1A. And they're like, there's like partnerships that you've never seen before, and it's and you get excited because you think, shit, what are they going to do with, like, how they're going to combine their quirks to be able to get out of this situation or whatever, you know what I mean? And Zero was one of them, like, the past couple of episodes, where he joined in Deku, but Ochako was there again, and I just, you know what I mean? I feel like Ochako's character is not going the way I want. And I don't know if anybody else feels this way, because I feel like everybody's favourite Ochako... Wait, obviously I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like a lot of people will say that their favourite Ochako moment was her fight against Bakugo, because she came out of her shell then. That was an Ochako that you've never seen any other time during the show, other than that one time. And the fact that, you know what I mean, after that sports festival, and she went to her internship to do, like, the more, like, combat heavy stuff, you know, that she would, you know what I mean, she's focusing on that side of a game that, you know what I mean, is rather weak compared to the other sides, maybe. And I figured, you know what I mean, she was looking, like, she was hoping, like, you know what I mean, for Deku to kind of, like, help her out a lot when, and, you know what I mean, she acknowledged that herself, and she was like, I can't just keep relying on Deku to get me out of situations or help me out all the time. I need to do something for me. And ever since then, she's still with Deku pretty much all the time. And I just think, like, maybe I hope I hope, for the sake of her character, that she goes, like, she starts doing more things solo, or if she has to be with another group or partnered with another person, that she sort of takes the reins and becomes, like, a bit more capable by herself, because, you know, I just think her character is, you know what I mean, I like her character, I feel like she's getting a bit stale, especially for the fact that, you know what I mean, she is supposedly supposed to be the main, like, heroine in this show, alongside, you know what I mean, because obviously, yeah, she's supposed to be alongside Deku and whatnot, but, you know what I mean, it's quite clear that she was like the first, like, girl in the class that was introduced, you know what I mean, she's clearly the main heroine out of all of the girls there. I would hope that she's able to just, you know, be a strong character and independent in of herself, because right now Momo's, like, clearly fucking taking the lead on her right there. You know what I mean, Momo's way ahead now. Like, she's got her head on straight. She had that whole thing in episode 17. She's had her moments back in season 2. The only time I've ever seen Ochako really pull it out the bag was, I mean, I guess you could say, like, earlier on in season 3 when she was against Toga, I guess, like, she did a bit there. But the big thing was obviously season 2, episode 9, and then other really than that, I don't know if she's ever really shown anything, like, all that noteworthy, you know. I've really wanted to come out of the bag and do something really independent, you know what I mean? Because I feel like as the main heroine of the show, she should really be strong in that regard, you know. Theoretically, I think she should be like taking the reins as obviously the most prominent heroine on this show, but she isn't at the minute. Momo's got that title, so yeah, we'll have to see where that goes. But yeah, I really hope I hope she either just acknowledges the fact that she does like Deku, or just not even think about it, not comment on it until she is like, until she's like had her time to like do things by herself and be capable. So yeah. Anyway, it showed that Stain is also like inspired heroes as well as villains. I remember I did comment on this once, I think, because I remember like Kaminari saying something about like just after the Stain incident happened, saying that like, oh, he was like cool and whatnot. But yeah, it's the thing that Stain, his whole ideology is that heroes like should be doing things as self-sacrifice and not doing it for the other benefits. You know, and it's showing that it's not just the villains that he has inspired, but also the heroes. So, you know, it does put like, yeah, there's a reason why he's a very like sort of what's the word? Not so like respected character like by the viewership, like the viewers, you know what I mean? The kind of holds Stain as sort of like in a sort of high regard because he's not an all-out villain. You know, I think I label him as like a sort of an anti-villain, you know what I mean? He still has the villain tendencies, but he's doing it for the reasons that, you know what I mean, that are sort of good. He's just the actions that he's doing for it are completely wrong. So, you know, he is in a sort of a realm of his own when it comes to like characters in the show. He sits in a place that nobody else sits, and he's a very important character for that reason, because he's the one that inspired. He's the one that basically moved the fucking League of Villains forward. You know what I mean? And he's been like the sort of pillar of character development for, especially for Ida anyway. Obviously Todoroki was in there, Midoriya was in there. You know what I mean? So he's a very important, integral part of the show, and it's nice to see that, like, obviously they're showing that the fact that he's inspired heroes as well as villains. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, back goes saving people. I love the fact that he just went there and say, like, you know what I mean, like, it's something along the lines of like, oh, you're absolutely fine, losers, walking off or whatever the fuck. And he's like, and like the fucking the people that were there were like, wait a minute, we are only minor victims. Like, is he actually right in what he's saying? It's like, oh, come on, for fuck's sake. It's just typical, isn't it? Fucking hell. I wrote down Ida will be like sort of, this will be Ida's element, specifically because I think that his brother was first and foremost like a rescue hero. One of the main things that we saw was obviously, you know, one of the first things we saw obviously was he got done in by Stain. But you know, when they had like little flashbacks or whatever, it would be you know, it would be his brother sort of coordinating a sort of rescue operation, you know what I mean, with his like sidekicks and stuff, you know what I mean. So I feel like Ida's main prerogative is to rescue, and that is his sort of that's his thing, you know what I mean. Of course, like across all heroes, you know what I mean, you have to be able to do everything. So obviously, you know, fight villains and things like that. But I think you know, that's Ida's primary thing as a hero is to rescue people. So he should be really in his element here. So yeah, and Gang Orca is apparently ranked 3rd in heroes that look like villains. Like, they actually have a rank for that? What? I'm trying to think, like, alright, well, who would be ranked 1st then? I mean, Endeavor could be easily just be looked at as a villain. I imagine he's probably either 1 or 2. You know what I mean? But it's that whole thing of like, well, is it like how many heroes have we actually seen? You know what I mean? We're only talking about like almost like one province in Japan, I guess. You know what I mean? Where like all these heroes gather, and it just so happens to be the 1st ranked hero, 2nd ranked, you know what I mean? I mean, what about the heroes that are ranked over in, like, I don't know, America or whatever the fuck, you know? But yeah, that's a weird one. I guess if they're taking the mantle of like, well, not even the mantle, but if they're taking like a job to like act as villains, and I don't know, I guess the guy who wrote it was just, you know, yeah, fuck it, we'll put that as in like there's a rank of heroes that actually look like villains. So yeah, I think that is all I've really got to talk about. And we'll fucking come back next week to see what happens with this rescue thing. I'm wondering if what the sort of last episodes of this season's going to be then, because this was episode 19. I imagine Rescue will either end next episode or episode 21. I don't see this going like to the end of the season, this rescue thing. So there's got to be something that's coming up. I guess the villains could easily just, I don't know, fucking waltz in here, into this sort of this arena kind of thing, and you know, you have another sort of fight like that was similar in season 1. So that could happen. The thing is though, is that there's been like nothing in this arc of the villains at all. There's been absolutely fuck all. There's been nothing, no mention of All for One or Shigaraki or anything like that. So, you know what I mean? I feel like whilst in the previous seasons before a fight, you would have like little snippets of what the villains are doing, and then they show up. What I feel like they might do with this one is they might just spring it on us, and it'll be like, right, the villains have regrouped and they're just fucking in now, right? So all of a sudden they just show up, and that's it. I noticed in the opening there's no mention of villains at all either. Like there's nothing of villains, so it's literally just this exam rescue training thing. I feel like you're coming up to a season finale. There can't be, like, you are not ending a season with rescue training. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen. So I feel like unless like the next couple of episodes have like, you know, little snippets of villain like activity or whatnot, it's just gonna get to a point where villains are just gonna be bang and they're just gonna show up out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And I can't wait for it. I actually fucking can't wait for it, because like every time this show, like, you know, you can tell when the show is like about to just kick off, you know, and I can kind of sense it coming, especially because I feel like, you know, there was comments of this arc being very kind of weak in comparison, and I get why people would say that, because obviously you had the fucking amazing first half. Like the first half of this season was, you know, like by far the best half like of this, like the show period. It was amazing. Obviously you had the whole thing with All Might and All for One, and to follow that, I mean, you have to bring it back a bit. You can't just go all out from there and keep that sort of, you know, that level. So I get why like people would, and you know what I mean. I felt it as well. Like it's a step back. It's more like this sort of arc's like very more like, our fun like playtime kind of shit. You know what I mean? It is for like a cause of like getting a provisional license. So there's like there are stakes there, but it's like nowhere near. Especially considering the fact that 1A is just it's the first year. You know what I mean? They don't have to have their provisional licenses now, but you know what I mean. So there is, you know what I mean. While there is stakes, they're not very big. You know what I mean. So I think the sort of the interest of this arc is primarily, you know what I mean, like the new prominent characters that will feature, like, you know what I mean, like from now into the future, like Inasa will, and I'm guaranteed he will. Shindo probably will. Kami probably will. So, you know, you've got those. And also, you know, highlighting side characters and giving them their moments. But, you know, there is no way that this season ends with a rescue exercise. At some point in the next couple episodes, I imagine there will be villain activity, and they may just show up out of nowhere, and then it's just fucking on for the last few episodes. So yeah, that's what I'm waiting for, and that's what I'm hoping for. So that is all I've got to talk about. Right, in the description below, I have a bunch of different links to different things, Discord being one. If you want me to react to a certain show that you like, then you want to go over to the Discord, because that is where polls and things start. Essentially, there's a whole channel there dedicated to, you know, putting shows, like recommending them, and then, you know what I mean, you thumbs up the ones that you like. Basically, the top 10 with the most thumbs up will end up being put in a poll for like the next show that I'll react to. Of course, the last one was Psycho Pass, so whatever, at the end of Psycho Pass, when I finish that up, the next poll will be up, and then the next show will be chosen. So yeah, if you want me to react to a show that you want me to react to, did I say that right? It didn't sound right, but you get what I mean, then that's where you want to go. Also, if you just want to come talk to me or the community, then that's a place to go as well. My PO box address is in the description below, so if you do want to send me anything at all, you can do with that address there. I will open it up on video. It'll be a nice little addition to the video as well. And obviously the big one is Patreon. So early access is $5 a month, and what that does is give you access to all my videos 1 week early in advance, and also you get 2 extra videos across all my shows, across all like the shows that I'm doing, as opposed to what the general public gets. So obviously the general public gets 2 videos of, like, right now it's Steins Gate, Haikyuu, Tokyo Ghoul, Code Geass. Every single week they get 2 videos of each of those shows. If you're on early access for $5 a month, you actually get 4 episodes across all of those different shows. So that's 16 episodes across all of the shows a week. That's 64 across the whole month. The general public only gets 32. So for double that, you know what I mean, for $5 a month, it's pretty good value. So if you are clamoring for more reactions from me way more frequently, then that is where you want to go. $10 a month, that is full-length reactions. So if you want to see my full unedited reactions, as long as you have your own reference footage, you know what I mean, you can just play them at the same time, and you can watch my reactions in full. $15 a month is exclusive. That gives you access to another video, another show that I'm reacting to, which is currently Parasite. That is being reacted to every Wednesday. So yeah, if you want to see me react to that, then $15 exclusive, that's the way to go. And that also goes for OVAs as well. OVAs across all shows will be going into exclusive as well. So there is that. $50 a month, that is the elite tier. For that, you get a show, one show of your choice that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It'll go to the back of the queue, and then I will get round to it eventually. If you want to jump the queue so that I will react to your show next, then you want to get the God tier, which is $100 a month. Of course, across both of those, the God tier and the elite tier, the only rules are that I haven't seen the show before, and that the show is 150 episodes or less. Yeah, so there's that. Also, God tier and elite tier are accumulative. So, for example, you know what I mean, if you pay $100 for, you know, God tier for a choice of one show that you want me to react to, and then the second month comes around and you pay $100 again, then you get another choice of a show. And then obviously third one, pay it again, you get a third choice of a show, you know, so on and so forth, and that goes for elite tier as well. So yeah, that is it. That is all. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.